Caitlin Clark's skills were so advanced when she was in grade school that her parents signed her up to play on boys' teams.
So if she wanted to, hang with the boys, so to speak, she had to keep up and, she had to do her part athletically if she wanted to play.
By the time she entered middle school, she was well known in basketball circles across Iowa. This was long before Clark became one of the faces of women's basketball. Caitlin's grandfather was the football coach and a school administrator at Dowling Catholic High School in West Des Moines. Caitlin grew up in the city. She began playing basketball at age 5 and competed in boys' recreational leagues because her father could not find a girls' league for her age group.
Yeah, I think growing up playing with the boys, I played with the boys, honestly, I think until about 6th grade. My parents kind of just knew I was a little more advanced in my skill set from a young age, and I think they also struggled to find teams where there were girls that were pretty competitive and was gonna, help me get better, and I was gonna have fun doing it. I never questioned it. It never was like, oh, why am I playing with the boys? It was just what I did.
Clark also played softball, volleyball, soccer, tennis, and golf as a child before focusing on basketball.
Growing up, especially throughout I middle school, I was still doing a bunch of different sports, and once I got into high school, I was just doing basketball and soccer for the most part, and then after sophomore year, I gave up soccer and kind of knew my future was in basketball.
At age 13, she began playing several years ahead of her age group in girls' leagues. Even as a kid, Clark was training at Iowa, but it wasn't until her father took her to a WNBA game in Minnesota that her focus shifted. After that trip, young Clark returned home, determined to add deep-range shots to her arsenal. The Fever guard herself shared a fun memory about her dedication to improving her shot. "I'm begging my dad to, tear up some grass and pour more concrete so I could have an entire three-point line in the driveway." The Indiana Fever phenom was destined for greatness, it seems, with throwback footage showing her dominating boys, back when she was a budding hooper living in Iowa. Footage shows a young Clark, no older than 6 or 7, running circles around a group of young boys inside a local gym. Clark can be seen dribbling the ball with both hands as her opponents haplessly try to steal it off her. Caitlin's father, Brent, has been a basketball player as a college student himself. As the Indian Fever number 22 reveals, he has been her go-to person for sports and really was her first basketball coach. He shares her passion for the game, though in a contrastingly relaxed manner, reminding her to calm down in the process. But a little fierceness has done her good.
Martin commits the foul.
Clark has shot over 50% from beyond the arc in 7 different games. Her remarkable shooting ability didn't stop there. Clark also went on to break a 3-point shooting record, further solidifying her reputation as a sharpshooter in the WNBA. It was in June, during a matchup against the Washington Mystics, when Iowa grad truly showcased her shooting prowess, sinking 7 of her 13 attempts from beyond the arc and hitting over 50%. That performance was just a preview of what was to come. In late August, Clark had her sights set on breaking Ryan Howard's rookie record of 85 made three-pointers from 2022. The Fever guard took the court against the Connecticut Sun with that milestone firmly in her mind. But as records are meant to be broken, Clark did just that. She hit her 86th three-pointer against the Connecticut Sun, surpassing Ryan Howard's rookie record of 85 in just her 31st game, compared to Howard's 34-game season. The Des Moines native wrapped up her rookie campaign with 122 made threes, even overtaking Diana Taurasi's mark of a 121. This left her just 7 points short of breaking Sabrina Ionescu's single-season record. While Clark's remarkable shooting abilities would have been difficult to develop without years of dedication, and her father deserves plenty of credit for fostering her passion from an early age, taming her down, speaking to her passion, and cheering from the sidelines every given opportunity. Clark was in 6th grade when Jan Jensen first heard about her. Not long after, Iowa's associate head coach and chief recruiter went to watch the prodigy from West Des Moines. She saw a confident player making pinpoint passes often too hot for her teammates to handle, someone who was creative on drives to the hoop, and of course someone willing to launch the deep three-pointers that would become her signature and one of the reasons she's one of the United States' highest-profile female athletes. It didn't take but a second, maybe a minute, Jensen said. That little step-back sassy three, this little 7th, 8th grader. You could just tell. They're easy to identify, but really hard to get. Everybody can see the true ones. The trick is to get them. Caitlin had tremendous success in the WNBA this season, but just knowing her work ethic, knowing her passion for the sport, knowing her fearlessness, I'm really not surprised, said Kristen Meyer, who coached Clark from 2016 to 20 at Dowling Catholic High in West Des Moines. More than anything, I'm so happy for her to get to accomplish all of these things, to grow the sport, and to grow the popularity of women's basketball, and also the state of Iowa. The daughter of Brent Clark and Ann Nizzy Clark grew up as the middle child in a sport-centric family. Caitlin said when she first started playing basketball, she would cry after every game her team lost. "That's because of how much I cared," she said in an interview with the Associated Press. "I'm like 6 years old and it didn't matter, obviously, but it mattered to me."
I think, especially when I was younger, I really struggled with understanding losing, and my parents did not really appreciate that at all. Whenever I would lose, when I was in either softball, basketball, whatever it was, I would just cry. That was my immediate reaction because I couldn't comprehend why wasn't I winning.
Meyer was preparing for her first year as Dowling High coach in 2016 when she first heard about a stud 8th grader who would be joining the team.
She just can dribble through traffic. 2 defenders, 3 defenders. She definitely can create her own shot. The step back, just offensively, she can find ways to get the ball where she wants it to go.
Coaching Clark was sometimes a challenge, Meyer said, because she was so advanced in her skills and basketball IQ. As has happened during her career at Iowa, Clark would show frustration if the target of one of her passes wasn't ready to catch it, or if a play didn't unfold as designed. That passion for winning took root when she and brothers Blake and Colin played board games and all kinds of sports against each other. She recalled a basement Nerf basketball game with Colin that got overheated. There were times the competitiveness of her kind of took over, or she wasn't as patient.
I vividly remember it. I literally got so mad. I think he had just scored on me. I literally grabbed him with 2 hands and just launched him into the wall, and it was where the corner of 2 walls meet, and he just put his hand back and went like this, and he's like, "Mom," because his hand was just full of blood.
She showed that right here in the living room floor playing Candyland. She wanted to win. She just has a drive in her that I do think is how she was born and is part of her core makeup.
But every high schooler has to grow through some things, and looking back, her skill level was on a different level than other people, so it was harder for her at times. Clark's AAU team, the All-Iowa Attack, won the 2018 Nike Guy Bull National Championship and was runner-up in 2017 and 2019. She won gold medals at the international level with the USA Under-16 and U19 teams. One of her few disappointments, and another source of motivation, came the summer after her sophomore season when she was left off the 12-player roster for the USA U17 team. She's one who loves a challenge and then responds to it. She took a big step between her sophomore and junior year, and a lot of that was due to not making the team. Clark was Gatorade National Player of the Year after averaging 32.6 points per game as a junior. Her defining high school game came late that season at Mason City, where she made a state record 13 three-pointers on 17 attempts and scored 60 points, one off the state record. By then, Clark was a consensus 5-star prospect and receiving attention from almost every major program. I remember thinking, how in the world can somebody score 60 points in a high school basketball game? Megan Meyer said. Clark hit 6 threes and scored 25 points in the first quarter alone. When the game ended, the Mason City student section lined up to get her autograph. That game, I'm sure, had a lot of foreshadowing of what was to come.